Our next panelist is Professor Linda Waite, and you can see Linda is the Lucy Flower Professor in Urban Sociology at the University of Chicago, and is Director of the Center on Aging for NORC, among many thousands of other activities that she's involved in. And of course, Professor Easterlin already mentioned her important topic of why marriage matters. The whole topic of marriage and the family, of course, is one for which she is worldwide famous.
I'm talking about PAA in the 1990s that I would use as the topics that the presidents during the 90s spoke on. So one of the first points I want to make is that the titles got shorter. The second thing is that if the population estimating equation, the key topics of demography are fertility, mortality, and migration, that's mostly not what PAA presidents in the 90s spoke about. PAA presidents of the 90s spent the 90s in the following ways: as identifying big patterns. I put Larry Bumpus's talk, What's Happening to the Family, and what he said basically is the things that were causing marriage and family change, more individualism and reduction in fertility, were not changing anytime soon. They were deeply rooted, and don't look for these things to reverse. And the next presidential address by Ron Rinfus, he pulled together patterns of transition in status across a whole bunch of dimensions and put them together in a very compelling way to show how overlapped they were, particularly during the young adult years. The next, my presidential address, where I sort of stumbled across similar findings across a range of outcomes where everybody knew the outcomes, but they had never put them together. And the fourth is Massey's Age of Extremes, where he was an early identifier of the increased divergence in economic well-being in the population, but pointed to the consequences for residential segregation, for the geographic distribution of the population. In all of these cases, presidents of the PAA set a research agenda in this work. The second thing that PAA presidents do, the second category, is what I'm calling big theory. And I have two presidential addresses in this category. Udry's talk really argued that there may be a biological substrate to differences between men and women and to differences across women. That the reason that some women picked the careers they did or married early or had the number of children that they had might have to do with biology. Karen Mason's work is sort of rethought the demographic transition in very creative ways and pulled together ideas, reformulated, added new dimensions, and presented, I think, re-theorized the demographic transition. The third thing was what I call pointing the way. And here I include Al Hermelin. What he did was to argue that the lessons we learned as demographers in family planning, research and practice could be applied to research and practice in the demography of aging. The next was Ann Pebley's, in which she argued that demographers should be thinking about population and the environment more, and that there were important things we had to contribute. The last talk is Andy Cherlin's talk, and Cherlin was saying, be careful about how you use and potentially misuse social science research. So, many of these talks were interdisciplinary. Many people brought together different and pretty far-ranging disciplines. They pulled together approaches, they pulled together concepts, they pulled together findings, and they pulled together data from different fields. They always, in all of these cases, pointed the path to follow to get from to get where we're going from where we were. Thank you.